Welcome, everybody, to the Raad Life, the only talk radio show that takes you along with host and age explorer Rod Gantos on his continuing journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older. The Raad Life is brought to you this week by Your Home for a Lifetime, a company dedicated to empowering you to stay safely, independently, and comfortably in your own home. And now here is your host, Rod Gantos.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are back on with another episode of the Raad Life. And today with me in studio is a gentleman by the name of Webb Travis, who, for about, 15 years now, Webb? 13 years? How long have you been doing this?
I've been training for close to 17 years overall, but I started becoming a personal trainer about 13 years ago. It was originally a college job and then turned to a minor, turned to my second major, and became a job, and then I made a career out of it.
Okay, so we pride ourselves on this show to be really nosy. And really,
Is that what we pride ourselves on?
I don't know about you, but
All the things.
I don't know about you, but I pride myself being nosy. And, I think you do too, except you don't. You are kind of like a closeted nosy person. Yeah, you're just like he's like a nosy wallflower. Okay, he just sits in the corner.
When I was a kid, my great-grandmother, who I knew a little bit, used to peer out. She would never go out and look in the front yard to see what was going on. She would just peer through, little peek out of the window.
Paul, are you a peerer?
I'm a peer.
You're a peer. Okay, you're a peer in your community.
That's right.
He basically checks out everybody through the curtains of his house.
That's right.
But we do pride ourselves on digging deeper because we the show, thanks to Mr. Paul Roberts, was deemed, or I was labeled by Mr. Paul Roberts. I still can't figure out whether it was a compliment or not. 3 years ago, that I am an age explorer. I am exploring things that, as you get older, you find interest in, and you go, things that make me go, or wonder where this door opens, or what does this button do, right? and so we do delve deeper, and I do want to find out more about your journey as far as how you got to do this. Mm-hmm. And whether this was even on the radar screen, so I'm giving you a little heads up.
Okay.
Was this a happy accident kind of thing? It road less traveled kind of thing that just fell into your lap. I have similar stories to me, and I've become almost like a strong proponent to, being open to receive those opportunities when they come in, and develop the skill set to be aware and have the awareness when it's happening to you that, oh wait, hold on, something is taking place right now. There's messages coming to me, and I need to be maybe listening a little bit because there may be another opportunity, a door, a way to look at things that is different from what I thought I was going to be doing on that particular day, right? So, but with that being said, you shared that you have been in the fitness industry for over a decade, and that you have been involved in this. And I know up till just recently, you were working at Equinox here in Orange County, and it's a great organization, multiple locations, high caliber kind of training programs, offerings, etc. And my question to you is, what do you say to people that basically say, "Oh yeah, fitness, it's a young man's game"?
Fitness is for everyone, and it doesn't matter how old or how young you are. And layman's terms, the younger to get started, the better. But it's never too late to throw someone into the game.
It's never too late to start.
No,
Right.
not at all.
Right, and I wanted to get that out really at the very beginning, because there's a lot of people that will just sit there and self-excuse. Oh, I haven't done it. I'm not an athlete. I didn't play school, sports. I didn't go do club sports. Yeah, whatever it is, right? I'm more cerebral than I am physical.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's the vehicle by which you are conducting your life, and unless you take care of that form of transportation, if you will, in a manner that allows you to do what you want to do in life, you will find challenges.
Absolutely.
Right? And that goes, I think, we'll talk about it a little bit here, it's also about nutrition. It's, just sort of more of a holistic overall approach to living, right?
Yes.
So it's not just, you can go hit the gym every day, but unless there's some sort of guidance or something, some plan of why you're doing it, because you could do it a million different ways, right?
It's finding the perfect balance, not just for the gym. It's your quality of life. It's all the ergonomics. It's what's happening outside of the gym. It's your food, your sleep, your water,
balance,
your emotions, your spirituality, everything.
Yeah. No, it's very, very good point. So we'll come back to that, but I want to find out. So how the heck did you find yourself doing this?
So originally, like I said, it was a college job. I used to be overweight myself.
So where did you go to college for?
I went to a place called SUNY Plattsburgh. It was a state university in New York, and upstate New York.
Is that where you're from?
I'm from New York originally.
Okay.
City boy born, moved around Manhattan, Long Island, Westchester. My parents bought 25 acres in upstate New York outside of Albany. And I try to find the furthest but not too far of a college.
Still close to home, but no.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I figure 3 hours is far enough. My mother would never drive to surprise me.
Ah.
She gets bored in the car after an hour, so I
Right.
knew it was safe.
So that was a safe zone.
It was a safe
Your mom
zone.
wasn't going to pop in on you on your
Yes.
dorm. Okay.
Plus, conveniently, I was 20 minutes from the Canadian border, so.
Oh, you could cross over to Canada.
Yes.
Okay. So what was there a history in the family, part of your legacy, sort of, if you will, that where sports was important, fitness was important, or was this just not? I'm trying to paint a picture. Like, did you grow up with this around you?
I grew up playing sports. I live in a small town. We had 56 kids in my graduating class. It was like the largest in my school's history. And I played soccer. I played baseball. Yeah, I played basketball. My junior year, I tore my left meniscus playing soccer preseason. And that was it. It ruined my life essentially for like 2 months.
You were thinking you were just going to continue with this.
Well, I was an all-star in my opinion. I felt great. I was dunking in basketball, and then they're like, "Yep, you're not playing basketball anymore." I'm like, "Watch me!"
Right.
And I went from dunking to barely touching net,
Right.
and it was really, really sad and annoying.
Well, and let me just explain to people that are watching. If you guys are listening to us online right now at octalkradio.net by hitting that listen live button, I think there's a video feed now on that page, Paul.
You're asking me a question?
Yes. See, he's sitting in the corner because he doesn't want to do any push-ups right now.
I don't want to even get into this discussion about
no room for
working
push-ups in here. Maybe a squat or two.
Squat. Oh, yes.
I'm a squatter.
I would love it. Any day of getting Paul to squat is a good day. Right. But what
was the question?
The question is, for people who are watching or listening to us on octalkradio.net, which is what most people know to do.
Yes.
Is there a way for them to be watching us too? Because I know now we're
in the upper right corner. It says "Watch our live
feed?
stream." Yeah.
Okay. So if you're listening, go to that page, or you can also catch us on Facebook and YouTube on OC Talk Radio. Mm-hmm. And for those who are watching us, or if you're listening, what you don't realize is Webb is actually sitting down right now, but he's pretty tall. How tall are you?
I'm 6'4".
Yeah. So he's 6'4". He's been involved. He was in high school. He's playing sport. Unfortunately, it's sort of a common story sometimes where people will blow out their ACL or something will happen, and it will. And I can't imagine. I've never had that for me at that point, but that's a pretty formidable time in your life. I mean, you've got this idea that you're going to be pursuing this. How did it feel to all of a sudden have that be taken away from you?
To keep it simple, it sucked. I was kind of confused. I had my heart set on playing like a D3 or D2 sport in college, and I still actually kept that goal. I went through a lot of physical therapy, and fast forward to my senior year, I didn't play soccer. Instead, I focused on just doing basketball, and I did track in the spring instead, because I used to be baseball and used to be the catcher, but it was too much wear and tear on my knee, and I didn't want to sit the bench and be at the DH. That was boring.
With only 40 kids in your class, you must have been every position at one time.
We had only like 3 seniors that actually played basketball. The rest of us were just a hybrid of sophomores, freshmen, and juniors anyway. But anyway, so fast forward, I got to college, and I was at a house event and partaking in some shenanigans, and someone came like, "Hey, like, you ever played rugby?" I'm like, "What's rugby?" "It's like football, but you hit people and there's no pads." I'm like, "Okay, good. Practice Monday, Sleepy Hall, 4:00. Be there or not."
Because when you're in the middle of shenanigans at a house somewhere, and somebody tells you body checking, hitting people, no pads, I don't have to carry equipment bag. You're thinking, this is a great idea right now.
Why not?
Yeah.
And I remember throwing up my first day of practice because we had to do a 3-mile run in the heat, and we had to do some ungodly hills, and it was just horrible. But anyway, fast forward, I was one of the
when I was in college, I'll never
forget.
Good. I went into the restroom at our dorm, and somebody had written. I'd never heard of rugby, mind you. I'm a good Midwestern kid. Somebody wrote on the bathroom wall, "Rugby players eat their dead." I just thought, boy, these guys must be tough.
Well, when you say rugby, because I actually played a little rugby. It wasn't like an organized sport, but I played a little rugby when I was in high school, and out of all places, Kuwait.
What?
Right, yes, because I was in English system high school, so
yeah.
you know it was like you tossed the ball. That's what we tossed the ball is. I mean, American football. No, football for me is what you use your foot for.
Rugby came first and evolved into American football, and they cleaned it up and put helmets.
But rugby always in my mind has been like basically what William Wallace when he's not painting his face
Wallace.
half blue,
Braveheart,
blue, and charging on the moors of Scotland. When they all got together and had some beers, they probably would play rugby.
Right.
I mean, that's the kind of thing. It's like what Vikings do when they're not raiding and pillaging.
Nuts.
Yes.
There's no helmets. There's no pads. You still have a football, but you just and it seems to be all no
but the
holds
football
barred.
is just an excuse. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
to get together in a
it's
scrum
reason
and all
to
attack each other.
It's almost like bait. Look, I got a ball. Come over here so I can beat you up. But so did you play?
I played
Okay.
for 2 seasons. I had a blast doing it. We won states, went undefeated our first year.
Very cool.
And like to give you an idea of some of my teammates and the mindset we were all in, one of the reasons I think we went undefeated, we had one guy, we called him Animal. Everyone had a nickname.
Okay.
And we kind of egged Animal on every game.
And did you guys eat your dead, in fact? Was this actually...
I think Animal definitely did.
It was the after party.
He got a rep in the league, and he would put up someone in an ambulance every game. And basically the league's like, we're going to suspend him if he keeps putting people in ambulances. And we're like, okay, lay off.
Then we're not going to play if there's
So we went
anymore.
like 2 games. We still won. We won 2 games after that, and then the third game where he hadn't hurt anyone, we're like, "Come on, dude, stop being a wimp. What's your problem?" Blah, blah. He's like, "Fine, watch this." And like kickoff, runs down the field, knocks 4 people over, grabs the guy, checks him down, separates the guy's shoulder in one shot, and we're like, "Oh." But we still went on to go and states in.
So what was your
good.
nickname? You put.
They call me Donkey because I always. They call me Donkey, and it was always because of Shrek, the movie. They're like, "That'll do, Donkey. That'll do," because I would keep hitting people after the fact. Like, dude, it's done. The play's over. Stop. And I'm like, but the clock keeps going. Like, we're in practice. That'll do, Donkey. That'll do. And that's where it came from.
See, all kinds of stuff people will tell me on this show. Okay,
Yeah.
including their nicknames. When
Wow,
they play
he's
rugby.
going to regret
So
that if
2
he ever
seasons,
runs.
right?
If he ever runs for Supreme Court justice,
I'll
he's
be
gonna
fine.
regret
I don't foresee that happening.
He's okay. You know what? There's a stubbornness, man. I can appreciate. I can.
Yeah.
I can appreciate stubbornness. So, and it's really funny because I've seen him train, and I can see where that's still part of the DNA.
It still hangs in around.
It hangs in there, right? So, okay. So you did that for 2 seasons.
Yep.
Then what?
So at the end of my first season, I finished out college as a freshman, and I was actually my heaviest. I remember seeing pictures on Facebook one day, and I was looking. We all went to the beach as a team, and like we're playing rugby on the beach and drinking beers and whatever. And next day, I saw the pictures. I'm like, who's that fat ass? I'm like, oh my God,
that's
it's me. What happened? And I finally hopped on a scale, and
Too
I
many
was
shenanigans. is what happened.
285, and I went into college at 220,
Wow.
and I was so baffled and confused. I was
That's
like, how
a
did this
lot
happen?
of weight.
But then I backtracked, and I was like, I literally drank a 6-pack or more every night for the last 3 nights, and probably had half a pizza or more every night for the last 3 months. It was crazy. So
And there's something wrong with that.
There's
diet?
something. I mean, nowadays, not with my clients, but my buddy Alan, who was a roommate of mine for the summer, he's like, hey, listen, I'm gonna be up for the summer. I know you're bar backing. He's like, work out with me.
Yeah.
He was already a trainer at the gym, and I was like, sure, whatever. I lost 30 pounds with him. Fast forward to the fall, he was like, hey, someone didn't come back. We're hiring. You want the job? I was like, I don't know. Can I get it? He's like, yeah, you interview with me, and you talk to Matt, the boss, afterwards, and you're fine. We pay for your certification. We do this and the other. You have to add nutrition classes as a minor. I'm like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. And I loved it. I got the job and started doing clinical for the women's hockey. They went on to win an NCAA championship. Did the men's hockey. Went to win a SUNYAC championship. Men's baseball, men's rugby, lacrosse, cross country. I did a clinical with every sports
What
team.
was your major or your focus
I
in
was
college before you?
Originally drawing and painting, and I switched
funny.
that. I know, right?
Drawing and painting.
Well, I would show up to the class and like, you're an art major? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you got
sorry,
Okay, hold on.
You got a
I
problem with
black
that?
nail
Okay,
polish,
okay.
I'm
eyeliner.
going to kick your ass if you say that again.
Wait, hold on. There was black nail polish involved?
Not with me. The
Oh,
other
okay.
guys were.
Okay. So what made you go in? Hold on a second, Paul. Okay, you just sit in your corner there, okay? Okay. Well, what made you
Animal.
go? What made you go? You are an animal. What made you go into an art major to begin with?
Originally, I wanted to focus on art history. My mother worked for J. Walter Thompson advertising agency growing up, and I love drawing, I love painting, I love doing art, I love photography.
Interesting.
And I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do yet, but I knew I didn't want to do accounting or finance or any of that stuff. I'm good at math, but I just didn't like it. I couldn't see myself.
What did your dad do?
He did construction and welding. He worked for General Electric for a while there, and then he left and started his own welding business.
Yeah.
And he did that all for a while. But he was like, if you don't like college, you can go get a union and you come work with me. I'm
Sure.
like, yeah, I'm going to go to school. I see how you operate at home. That I don't know how you work in the work field, so I didn't
Right.
want to do that. But
that's
yeah.
interesting. That's interesting because I mean, would you say that that's still part of your DNA? That interest in sort of art history?
Absolutely, I still have an eye for
creative
art.
outlet.
I every time I go to New York City, where I'm originally from, I love going to any kind of museum I can. I enjoy painting and just hanging out and enjoying art and appreciating it. I remember I still had to take art history courses, and we would have 100 slides to memorize.
I remember those.
You had to know the artist, the movement, write 3 to 5 paragraphs about it.
Yep.
And you wouldn't know what the final is, but there's only 10 slides out of the 100 you chose. So you just show up, and you're like, let's see what happens. This is like a game of roulette.
I remember those days. But it's the reason why I'm asking, because I really believe people have there's a lot of layers to people. And somewhere along the way, sometimes some layers dominate others, but there's some
peel off.
Well, I think some peel off, but those are not the ones I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones that are really core. And sometimes those things stay with you. And so the question is, later on in life, how do you still sustain or feed that part of your soul in what you do, whether it's, hobby, sometimes, perfect example, my brother-in-law is a laser eye surgeon, but he got to it, and don't ask me how, through engineering, through electrical engineering.
Okay.
And when he says to you, well, surgery is the same as, doing a circuit board, I go, okay, I'm going to go to the other guy. But he also has an artistic bent, and he basically has cultivated his hobby into woodworking and metalworking, and, has a whole, they have a 3-car garage, of which 2-car garage, part of it is basically a workshop.
Wow.
Okay, where he goes basically and hides, I think, but he also rattles, and he's amazing. He does mercury work, so it's really interesting to get to know people and sort of more rounded way.
Yep.
So here you are, you go into there for that. You then basically get into the fitness component of it. Can I get it? What made you switch? Do you feel that what was the motivation for you to switch? Because to go after an art degree, that's a pretty out of the norm, your own path kind of thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Especially if your father, like I said, you're saying, your father's union, welding, construction, sort of core job industries. You already are beating a different drum going in our direction. Yeah. So what happened? Was it just that you were open to things? What happened?
I was very open to it, but actually it was at the end of my sophomore years where I started to make a little change and transition. I still focused on nutrition and exercise science, but I changed my focus from drawing and painting to advertisement and marketing. And I took my first graphic design class, and I fell in love with it. And I was like, realized I can take the stuff I draw, I can throw it in a computer, I can manipulate it, color different, sequence, and I loved it. It was a great calling for me.
So what did you end up graduating in?
I have 3 degrees technically. I have my bachelor's in arts, in marketing and advertisement. I have my bachelor's in science, exercise science, and I have my master's in business administration.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks.
Yeah, because you're not really an overachiever at all, right?
Not really. I also worked 2 to 3 jobs throughout college the whole time while being 18 credits.
And he likes to kick ass and eat the dead.
No, that's
on rugby.
That's animal.
Oh, it's rugby.
Animal, yeah.
Yeah. So what happens after graduation?
So I did undergrad, did 5 years because I was a double major. It was actually in school.
That's very impressive, by the way.
Thank
5 years for double major is pretty good.
It was actually the beginning of my 4th year of school. My father actually passed away. He had cancer of the liver, arteriosarcoma, and he actually got really sick. He didn't realize it was happening, and he had an unfortunate end of his life where he lost his job. He got pulled over for a DWI. My mother and him were having issues, and they were trying to figure out if they're going to go through a separation or whatnot. And then one day he started coughing up blood. He went to the doctors, and they're like, yeah, you got arteriosarcoma of your liver, and it's in your lungs, it's in your kidneys. You have a matter of weeks to live. And he unfortunately decided he didn't want to be in much more pain. He unfortunately took his life sooner. And instead of piggybacking what we said, but unfortunately he died. He killed himself. He didn't want to deal with it anymore.
How old were you?
I was 20.
How old was he?
55.
Wow, young, man.
Yeah, but it happens, unfortunately. It's part of life.
Yeah.
And I was in a bad place for the next 3-4 months, and I was drinking and doing stupid shit. And I remember literally I woke up one day next to a toilet, and I was like, how the hell did I get home? How did I even get here? I could have died. And that was it. That was a turning point. I literally went cold turkey. I didn't drink for probably about 1-2 months. I stopped doing the bouncing and started being the bartender. And that way I could be in the party scene with my friends, but I can be in control of myself and control them to help watch out for them at the same time.
Yes, yeah.
And then I started doing a focus more on general population instead of athletes. And when I got into grad school, I did a semester working at the YMCA, which is general population, every day, John Smith, Jane Smith, basic issues and whatnot, and ergonomics. And in my second semester, I got to do special needs population. We went to the Plattsburgh Air Force Base, and I worked with the amputee department.
Oh,
wow.
God.
And that was very rewarding.
Can I just stop you for 1 second?
Of course.
The last 5 minutes, I can't even come up with anything snarky or I mean, that was very touching. I appreciate you opening up and being that vulnerable and honest. I mean, we kind of raced through it, but there was a lot packed in that couple of minutes there. And it's what this show is all about. You know, we're all on this journey and we don't know where it's going. And along the way, things pop up. Your dad commits suicide. You change majors. You decide to alter your life. I mean, that's what this show is all about.
Webb, how many people? I mean, you've been training people, you know, for, like I said, we've said over a decade, right? How many people? I'm not putting this on you or anybody, but how many people do you think that you've basically been involved in, which is in somewhat of an intimate manner, do know this
Part
extent
of
your life?
In the last 8 years, I did the numbers like a few weeks ago. It was in my head. I think it came to a grand accumulation of like over 14 or 15,000 training sessions. I've had an average of 30 to 40 clients every year.
And how many know
How many
you
of
like
these clients know what we
what we
we
just heard?
delved into?
I would say a majority of them did.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
like
awesome.
it's more than his client. It's a relationship.
Yeah.
Like not only are they I'm giving them my time, my knowledge, but I have to give them a little something for them to open up to me. We have to find out what makes each other tick.
Absolutely.
I have to be able
And
to get
how
on a
did they
personal
react?
level.
Because I just went through the death of my aunt, and I find most people want to change the subject immediately when you're talking about death or dying or family problems or issues or any of this stuff. I feel for you. I'm sorry, but hey, this is a little negative, and I don't want to hear it. How do your clients react when they hear it?
Honestly, everyone's very open to it.
See,
I
that's
think
what
it
I
made
think,
me,
yeah.
it makes me human first,
Right.
and it makes it easier for them to let their guard down
I agree.
and open up, and we find what is going to make them tick. What is something that can help find it's a quote unquote weakness.
I
That's causing
completely
them to
agree,
be in
and
the
I know
spot they're
Rod
in.
does, and that's what this show is all about.
Well, to the point of what you guys both shared is, again, a reminder to anybody who's watching or listening that, you know, in today's society where everything is a very finite amount of time that you can allocate to things, when you have an opportunity to actually interact with people, I know, we joke about, oh, I can't remember that person's name, you know, I can't even remember, you know, where I met them. Take the time to connect with people. It's a lot of, you know, you can say you have, you know, I can't add any more people on Facebook because I have like 5,000 people on my Facebook, or, you know, I'm connected with so many people. No, you're not. You're acquainted to all these people.
Yes.
The depth of connection doesn't mean anything depending on the numbers that you have on social media or on LinkedIn or whatever. Take the time to actually get to know people, because when you don't, it's really easy to marginalize people.
Yes.
It's really easy to pigeonhole them, put them in a little box. When you actually get to know them, I'm sorry, but it becomes harder.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
can basically isolate them from things. You know, you start developing things like,
'Cause
oh
they're
my
not
God, dare I say it,
others.
empathy.
Yeah.
You know,
Right. They're not all
connectivity.
others. I can
Yeah.
see myself in them.
Yeah.
And we all say we want to be real. That's the buzzword today in social media. Everybody's got to be real and authentic and vulnerable. But we don't really want to be authentic.
You know,
and-
I heard something.
We want
I heard
them
something,
to do it,
I heard
but
something.
not us.
I heard something being said yesterday. You know, when I first started, I accidentally one time said, I don't design interiors, I design experiences. Okay? And then all of a sudden, 10 years forward, everybody's using the word experience all over the place, and I got pissed. I was like, what the heck? What the heck? You
Why
know?
didn't I trademark that?
Right, what, you know, but what really pissed me is that, you know, everybody was slapping it on like a generic label, right? Or people saying, you know, it's real. Yeah, or it's different. Different for the sake of different is meaningless. Real, if it's not really real, and you're not there's not an element of vulnerability in it, and there's not an element of empathy in it, it's not. It's meaningless. Okay, so something like this, and I mean, I think it's a testament to your success in what you have chosen to pursue. You cannot do this without having a connection that's deeper than just, hey, here's your training session.
Yeah.
Thank you for clocking in. Thank you for clocking out. Because how do you even basically get involved with someone to where their behavior and mannerisms are adjusted to a healthier thing, to where they're self-sustaining and maintaining that commitment?
Yes.
Right? What is, like, if Webb is not watching me or, like, you know, checking on me every 2 seconds via text messages, I cannot, you know, it's like critical parent thing. That doesn't work.
No.
So okay, so here you are, and thank you for sharing the thing about basically helping with amputees and special needs. Where do you go from there?
So it was kind of a sheer dumb luck kind of thing at place I fell into. Unfortunately, when my dad passed away, I had a little bit of a fall with my younger brother and my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And,
How many people in your family?
Immediate family, it's my mom, my brother Cody, and I actually have an older half brother Josh, who I love dearly. His wife Beth, Brady and Maddie, my niece and nephew.
Okay.
They live in New Hampshire, and my mom, and my brother still live in upstate New York. But from there, I'm very connected to my Aunt Carol, who is my dad's sister, and my grandma, who is my dad's mother. Very connected to them. But I have extended family on my mom's side of family. They're all in England. Everyone's out there. And then a bunch of second cousins all over the place, but that's irrelevant.
Right. Well, no, there's sounds like an extended family.
Yeah.
And you have relationships with all of them.
Yeah.
One way or the other. Okay, so then what happens? You were starting to say about when your father passed away, you had a falling out.
So I had a falling out with my mom, whatever. So I finished college, and I came home, and I was probably home for maybe 2 days before I officially got booted from my house. Mm-hmm. My brother and I did not see things eye to eye, and he had a abuse problem from physical, alcohol, drugs, all the above. And I got to the point where him and I got into a fight. My mom finally was like, "You need to leave." I'm like, "Why?" And she was like, "He's only like this when you're home." I'm like, "He's been like this for months and years. Like, you just let it happen." Anyway, so long story short, I moved out. My Aunt Carol was kind enough to let me come live with her for the time being. So I did. I moved in, and the deal was to help her organize her house.
Where was your Aunt Carol?
She lived in Hastings-on-Hudson. It's in Westchester County, right above Manhattan. And that was the deal. You can live here, find a job, do whatever. You just got to help around the house. My Aunt Carol had been diagnosed with Parkinson's over 15 years ago now. Unfortunately, she got a month after her husband, my Uncle Stuart, passed away. He had cancer as well, an ongoing battle for 12 years.
Wow.
Oh, my God. This is just wild. Okay.
Well, people are challenged on a daily basis.
Amen.
Every time you think somebody has, doesn't have issues, like I said, delve deeper. Connect with people, have a relationship, because everybody is dealing with something. Mm-hmm.
And I have to, again, connect with you on another level. My late mother, who died 13 years ago, suffered from Parkinson's for many years. I watched that debilitation take place. It's horrible. It's another one most people don't want to see and deal with, because you just start shaking uncontrollably, and then you fall, and you're afraid people to see you, and everything becomes difficult to do, from talking to walking. Yeah, it's not, and it's a very slow progressing disease.
And she was already diagnosed at that point. So 15 years ago, she was already diagnosed. Okay, all right.
So
you moved in.
I moved in, and like you were saying, very similar. She would have tremors to the point where it looked like her body was having an earthquake. And it was uncontrollable. And about 4 years ago, she actually had, it's called the, I think it's DBS. It's the dural brain transmitter. Basically, had a pacemaker put in her chest, and that controls her heart rate. And she has 2 electrodes in her brain. And
basically regulate.
Yeah, and she went
from having I think that's what Michael J. Fox did.
Yes, it's the Michael J. Fox surgery. Right. And so she went from having tremors to now she can file her nails, she can sip tea, eat with her fork, write in perfect cursive again, like night and day difference from what it used to be. But unfortunately, the Parkinson's already been there for over 8 years, or no, 10 years before, 11 years before she even had that treatment done. And so her muscle had deteriorated, and we're trying to work with her now, where we're trying to retrain her muscle patterns.
So just to kind of close the circle and move on to today. So here you are, you're working, you're in New York, you're living with your aunt. How do you get to California?
So rewind back to Aunt Carol.
With a plane.
Yeah.
But I'm bummed, ladies and gentlemen.
I did not do that, though. I kind of wish I did, but at the same time, I see the people.
If you'd like to hear more about Paul's stand-up routine,
I'm here all week.
Join us on Fridays. I will be here.
Carol asked me to come with her grocery shopping one day, and I was like, sure, I'll come. And went to this place called Mother's Market, and famous. I looked next door. I was like, oh, what's that? She was like, oh, that's that gym. And it was Equinox. I was like, oh.
The gym here in Orange County. That's one of the
So you ended up coming to California with your aunt?
How did you get? I got her here. I'll explain. I'll get to that in a second. So
this is all happening.
This is all happening back in New York 8 years ago.
Because Mother's Market is
Mother's. Oh no, I was like Mrs. Green's. Mrs. Green's is equivalent to
This
our
is
Mother's.
where you
My
threw
bad.
me.
Sorry.
Well, I'm thinking,
we have Mrs. Green's, which is basically Westchester's Mother's Market.
Okay.
Same
and there
thing.
was a gym next to Mrs. Green's.
It was Equinox right next to Mrs. Green's. Right. And so I went in, talked to the guy.
We try
Mark
not to
Terry.
confuse the people that are watching.
So I talked to the boss, Mark Terry, and this other guy, Will Diaz, and they both talked to me. I went in the next day for an interview with both of them, this other guy, Eddie. Great managers. They hired me that afternoon. I started the following week, and fast forward, I became one of the top trainers in the club, became one of the top trainers in the company. 2 years, I was number one company-wide. I got 2 awards called the Fusion Award for top productivity in both PT and group fitness combined. I created a group fitness class called Ropes and Rowers that I sold to Equinox, and it is now on an international level. It was in men's health, one of the toughest classes of the year in 2015. And
so this is recent. This is the last couple of years.
Yeah, and then 3-4 years ago, I came out here for the Ropes and Rowers launch to put it in California, and fell in love with the area. And I had lunch with a great guy. His name was Brian Gunzler. He unfortunately is not with us. He passed away a year ago, and he got me out here. He got me out here and told me about overtime laws and explained how I'd make more money out here, time and a half policy. And I was late here 4 weeks later. I walked out of the meeting like, how am I going to get to California? Ring, ring, ring. Hey, what's going on? It was my old client, lives in Florida. Her daughter's girlfriend from college got a job in New York, was moving to San Francisco in a month, wanted the sublet. She bought all my furniture, took my lease. I moved out here on a one-way ticket, and that was it. And then I met my now wife within the first month of being at Equinox. She became a client, became a good friend. We started dating, and I started training Will and Charlotte, her kids, and we started hanging out as a family. We got engaged, we got married, so on and so forth.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Fast forward to Carol.
All because somebody suddenly wanted to sublet and buy your stuff here.
Yeah, it all worked out. And
because he gained 50 pounds when he was in college.
I was
and needed to shed
65.
65.
But really, one small decision on your part, you found a new state, a new life, a new passion, a new wife. I mean, everything from just kind of a happenstance. Well, maybe I'll go try California.
So here you are 3 years later. You've been at Equinox.
Yeah.
Great book of business.
Yeah.
Everybody loves you.
Yeah.
You're doing all that you wanted to do. What makes you leave?
So it got to the point where I love the company very much.
You've been with them.
I've been with them for a long time, but it came down to a club level thing with management, and I just had seen the values change in the last year and a half, give or take.
Difference of opinion.
And things that I've seen done before, maybe because it's a West Coast, East Coast thing and the labor laws, so on and so forth. But what I thought was brand standard was not their brand standard, or the brand standard changed.
And you probably wanted your own thing.
You
wanted your own thing.
I see that happen, especially when people have a certain sense of ownership in what they do and a certain caliber that they want to see it happen at. Yeah. So this was recent, right?
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
But I also got to the point where I had such a big book of business and referrals, and it got to the point where all my outside business was ready to skyrocket. I was like, you know what? I'm at a place right now where I can leave, try to put my clients as best as I can to other trainers, and I did that, and I moved on, and I have a great book of clients on the outside, and I have more control of my schedule and my wife and kids as well.
Do you want to take a break, Paul?
Yes.
Let's do that.
This is a lot.
Before we go,
every 2 seconds he throws in 12 other layers you could talk about here.
But before we go, here's the thing, okay? So for those who have been patiently waiting, and thank you so much for staying with us, wondering why is there a fitness trainer basically sitting on a Raad Life radio show where we talk about the journey of aging, is because there is something I want to talk to you about that we've already kind of alluded to in a way. We've kind of set the rhythm to this show, but when we come back, we'll talk about that and what Webb's doing now. So let's take us out to the break, Paul, and we'll be right back.
Imagine buying a newspaper and discovering that the news you're reading is 6 months old. There isn't much that stays the same for 6 months, and the same thing goes for background checks. In a time when so much outdated information is being passed around, it's good to know that People G2 offers something different. At People G2, we provide today's intelligence, not yesterday's news. Our value-added approach offers you a fully FCRA-compliant solution that includes up-to-the-minute information. By combining industry-leading technology with old-school human investigation, People G2 is able to give you information that is accurate right now, delivered quickly through our online system, or integrated with your HR system. So ask yourself, are you comfortable working with old news, or are you ready for a different kind of background check company? Visit peopleg2.com or call 800-630-2880. That's 800-630-2880 or peopleg2.com.
Okay, we're back. I got this, Paul. Thank you. We're back on the Raad Life with Webb Travis. If you haven't been listening, where the heck have you been? You needed to be listening, and so I guess you'll just have to listen to the recording of this show, which we will share very, very promptly, either today or tomorrow, and you can watch it on YouTube if you go to OC Talk Radio's channel on YouTube. I do have a little bit of housekeeping. I just want to say that this show is on OC Talk Radio. It's been on OC Talk Radio for the last 3 years, and it is produced by my newly co-founded company, media group, Golden State Media Group, with my co-host on Check Out California and co-founder of Golden State Media, Mr. Craig Sullivan, who's going to be here shortly, and we will be having another Check Out California show. But going back to Mr. Webb Travis sitting in front of me, there's been a very riveting conversation so far. No, I really mean it, because you know what? I tell people this show for me is my ability to take a break in the middle of the week and actually do something that we do not do enough of in society anymore. Have a friggin' conversation. One person one time told me, and it's a very southern term, but I think it's very applicable if anybody really can understand what I mean by this, is they said, well, after they were done with the show, said, well, we kind of visited for an hour. We visited. We sat down and we visited. No, there was no crust-free sandwiches or tea or whatever, but we visited, and this is what we do here, right? And when you visit, when you connect with people, when you really put yourself in a position of vulnerability, they do the same. Amazing stuff happens all the time that benefits everybody. So I promised we would talk about why Webb, who's a fitness trainer for over a decade, who's just up till recently was at Equinox, great organization, basically now has left and is on his own. He's got a great book of business, a lot of loyal customers that he's impacted very positively. I know few of them personally, and I think they all speak very highly of you. So kudos.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely, well deserved. I know it's well deserved. I have been victim. I mean, at the pleasure of being under your hands one time too, and it was no. I really mean it. This. We talk about fitness like it's a young man's game. It's not. We talk about this as being something that you do when you're young, and you're basically trying to make sure you're putting your best foot forward, and you're trying to, look sexy for the ladies or vice versa, whatever.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to this, which is bringing me to this part of the conversation, is that it's critical. My father, basically, is in his early 80s. He has already fallen a couple of times. He has not been physically fit. Now, he ironically played baseball when he was in high school. He did a lot of outdoor sports, camped, all this stuff, right, when he was younger. He worked as a civil engineer. He was on job sites all the time, climbing stairs, going over. He was in a pretty good physical condition,
Yes.
and he even ran track when he was in college. And he got older.
Yes.
And then he retired.
Yep.
Okay, never retire, people. Okay, or if you retire, find something that you're going to basically have a passion for as you retire, because if you don't have that, you get old faster. Mm-hmm. If you don't have physical fitness, your body starts to betray you, if you will, right? He has fallen a couple of times.
Yeah.
I was thrilled that they actually prescribed for him, like it was a medical prescription, that you
Yes.
have to do 12 sessions of physical therapy.
Absolutely.
And I had a blast laughing under my breath when I was talking to my mother a couple of days ago, and she basically told me that it took my dad over an hour to basically pick a pair of sneakers, right? Because, you and I would go into a place and go, okay, I have a session in 30 minutes. I need to get a new pair because I worn out the one. My father had not done this in so long. I think the last pair of sneakers he bought was a Stan Smith pair of sneakers because I had them and I liked them and I got him like a pair. It took him an hour to pick a pair of sneakers, okay? But I am so thrilled that he's actually doing physical therapy. When you get older, you have to also equally be aware, and if you get used to it earlier in life, it's easier. If it becomes part of your regimen on a daily basis, a way of self-care, self-love, caring for you to be able to be there for others by being physically fit, whatever, right? Health, nutrition. We talked about meditation, calmness of mind, body, mind, spirit kind of, connectivity. All those things are critical. When you're older, I think, if anything, they're probably even more critical.
Yes, absolutely.
So here you are not at Equinox. You're doing your own thing. I know you're setting up your space at home, so you can basically continue to deliver on that high caliber of training for your clients. But there's an element, again, that you are involved in that has a direct positive impact to somebody in your life who is older. Mm-hmm. So why don't you talk about that?
So we've been working with my Aunt Carol.
It was the same aunt that you went and
same aunt who I lived with. It's a full circle.
Right, full circle. Life's a full circle.
Life's a full circle. So she took care of me and let me live with her for 2 years and change. Fast forward, she was in Florida in a care facility. She had unfortunately had 2 falls last year.
Which is, by the way, the number one thing for seniors.
Yes, it happens. But unfortunately, her falls, I guess you could say it happens, but the way they happen, I would fall too. She slipped on ice.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is very common. And she had a long layup that happened in the spring. Fast forward to the fall of this past year, she fell again where her 85-pound Burmese mountain dog knocked her from behind, and she fell down the stairs.
And how heavy is your Aunt Carol?
She's now about 190 pounds.
So the dog is about as much as weight as she is.
Half her body weight. But to knock on a leg, and
Yeah.
she had Parkinson's,
Boom.
and she just finally had a recovery
Yeah.
from her long layup with her back and whatnot. But anyway, so that second fall put her over the edge. And unfortunately, her dog passed away shortly after, and she was just in an emotionally state.
That's a bad spot
and
to be
so
in.
she got moved to Florida to a care facility, and it was a good facility, but it wasn't for her. And the people that are taking care of her were just not doing the job that I felt that was needed
How
for
old
her.
is your aunt now?
She's 70.
Okay, she's still relatively young. I
Yeah.
mean, at this day and age, that's
Yeah.
she's got another 20 years.
Absolutely.
Easy.
So we went to Florida, visited her, and we literally walked in. We're like, hey, give us all medication. She's coming back to California for a vacation. They're like, who are you? I'm like, I'm her nephew. Here's all the pictures over here in the living room. I was like, I'm her new power of attorney, and she's coming with us. And so we did. We brought her out here, and she lived with us for 4 weeks before we moved her in Vivante Assisted Living.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, it's a good facility.
beautiful facility. One of the best ones we looked at, and we were very gracious to be on the waiting list, and they got us in when they could. Anyway, rewind. Living with us, we helped her with her medication management, and most importantly, we changed her food, and we gave her a proper bedding.
So what was the standard diet for her?
She was eating like yogurts, a cheese stick, cereal, bags of granola,
Stuff you
bars,
give kids.
stuff you give kids.
Snack bag.
Yeah, and it was just grains and dairy and sugar and just crap. Pardon my language. But
No,
it's
and
bad.
no, you can use that language because, you know, and on top of my father, the physical situation, my mother is in her late 70s and
Yeah.
was diagnosed with lung cancer that's last year. And the one thing that it was immediate weight loss.
Yep.
And same situation, and we had to eventually, like recently, put her on go to a nutritionist, a dietitian, because there was the poor woman was basically suffering from some stomach problems,
Yes.
gastrointestinal,
Yep.
without being specific, and yet at the same time she was doing Ensure, which was dairy-based.
Dairy, yeah.
I mean, like
That's what happened with Carol.
yeah.
They had her on GERD medication, and I was like, you guys are feeding her this stuff. This is it. So she came to live with us. We were lactose-free. We're grain-free in our house, gluten-free. And within the first 4 weeks of her living here, she lost close to 15 pounds. She had a checkup right away. We got her set up with Dr. Lindbergh over at Hoag, and he did a quick blood analysis, blood pressure, so on and so forth. We had her physical yesterday, her actual scheduled physical. Blood pressure is finally normal. Her cholesterol is great. Resting heart rate is amazing. And she's dropped a couple pounds more since her last weigh-in, and she's down like 2% body fat.
That's amazing.
And she just feels great. She's
That's
so much
amazing.
happier. You can just see it in her, and she's ecstatic. And we see her on a weekly basis. Before, the person that was her caregiver would see her maybe every other month, or just pop in when he needed her to sign something and leave.
Well, sadly, and Paul has said this, you know, his own personal experience when he would go visit his aunt, and they would say, well, why are you here? You know, unfortunately, the way that, and that's not no negativity against the caregivers. They are unbelievable heroes, honestly, caregivers that are involved in the senior industry. But it's just the nature of our society. Seniors, when they get older, sometimes it's almost like they're forgotten. They're like
Yes.
parked somewhere.
Sometimes, always. We get them out of sight, out of
Well,
mind. I don't want to see them deteriorate.
Unless you have a family, caring family, an extended family that actually is willing to adjust their life
Not
to
many
accommodate that, which given the demands of society,
Yeah.
the time and commitments and all that stuff, it's hard
Yes.
to do. But here
And it's hard to watch. That's what I get. There are lots of people who say, I'll help, but I don't want to see this.
But you see, Paul, here's a perfect example. where Webb basically is saying that if you are not knocking anybody who doesn't have the ability financially or the ability to, in terms of time availability,
or emotionally,
which is, thank you, because that's very important. It is a
Yes.
very draining process, especially when you have something like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's involved. But there are places out there that have support services. There are ways that you can navigate and weave and kind
Absolutely.
of orchestrate a program where you can feel like you are contributing for the betterment of somebody who's a relative or somebody you know that you care about. Reach out to people that can help you with that. I mean, it's a perfect example, right? I mean, until my father basically got prescribed, and I've been doing the show for 3 years, and you know, we do red carpet, and we're going to do it again for Senior Serve,
right?
You know, in a couple of weeks. But this is where, physical therapy for my father. I was like, what a novel idea. There's 12 sessions of physical therapy. I'm like, where have you been? You've been doing a senior show for the last 3 years, right?
Can I ask you a quick question?
Here's Webb, basically, which I would have never thought. Here's a personal trainer with that focus. I thought this was something that didn't occur unless you basically had the personal means. But what
Yes.
Webb just basically presented was, it is a necessity. It is something that is quality
Absolutely.
of life driven specifically.
Yes.
Right.
But here's my question:
And-
how open was your aunt to doing this? Because in my own personal experience,
Very good question, Paul.
my mother, my dad, and my late aunt, all three of them I watched go through this. I'm an only child. All three of them could have benefited from better nutrition and better exercise, but their whole life they ate what they wanted and they never exercised. So when doctors said, do this, try this, they went, eh.
So what was her reaction?
She was very receptive to it. And the thing is, she had been taking care of her dog,
Yeah.
Olivia, for the
Yeah.
last 10 years. And
Yeah.
before that, she was taking care of her husband, my Uncle Stuart, for 12 years prior to
So
that.
she
with his-
saw physically.
she never let anyone take care of her. So
Yeah.
it got to the point where my wife and I just said, like, Carol, we're going to take care of you. We're going to help you
care
out.
of everybody
And it was
else.
everything from, like, to go see a podiatrist, get a proper pedicure. Like, she hadn't taken care of her feet in like 2 years. She hadn't bought new underwear in years.
My
Like,
aunt was
little things.
incapable of cutting her toenails, and they grew. They looked hideous.
Yes, it looked like hobbit feet.
Okay,
and
so
it happened.
So I know we're going to run out of time, and I want to make sure two things. First, how do people get hold of you? How do they find out about what you could?
You can get a hold of me on Instagram. My tag is simply it's at Webb Travis PT. You could search me on Google. You'll find any kind of website, any kind of link for me. And I have a website that's gonna be launching in the next week. So you'll find webbtravis.com coming soon.
And anybody has a problem or difficulty finding that, contact me at Rod RAAD Gantos at GHANTOUS at gmail.com, or drop us a note on the Raad Life on the show, and we'll connect you with Webb. Sound like you're excited about this next step.
I am. I have a lot of great things coming for it. They've been planned out and thoroughly executed, and they're all going to come about in the next 2 to 4 weeks.
That's awesome. And your aunt the plan is that she's just going to be...
She's going to continue. I really trained her before I came here. We went from doing balancing on one foot to throwing a stability ball. Now we're doing 2 balls where it's like a circle. I'm tossing, she's catching. I'm tossing, she's catching.
So what would you share that's relevant specifically to somebody like in that age bracket as your aunt? Not, maybe they're dealing with Parkinson's, maybe they're not, but they're older,
Yeah.
right? What are some of the advice that you could give them?
You have to find out what works for that person, first and foremost. Find out what's going to help motivate them, whether it's a family member or it's some kind of goal. For example, I got Carol Strong a couple of years ago anyway because she wanted to go to Italy. Well, we have to get your
That
core
was
strength.
the motivation.
That was the motivation.
So she could walk around in
She'll
Italy
walk around, yeah.
and really enjoy that.
I think that's critical because most people in an older
Well, you said
generation
quality of life. It's
never
quality of life.
worried
Yeah.
about nutrition. My aunt always said, I'm going to eat what I want to eat, and never exercised a moment in her life.
Yeah.
And for her to suddenly do exercises, even if she saw a benefit, was hard because she just wasn't into it.
The one thing that is almost classic motivator, I find, is just grandkids. You have
Yeah.
grandkids and grandparents. You're older. You haven't been physically active. You're wanting to be there for your grandkids. You now have an opportunity to basically have the time and availability to build a relationship that maybe you weren't even able to do with your own kids because you were busy basically, raising a family,
Yes.
making a living, right? In order to be able to do that, in order for you to be not tired at the end of the day to the point where you're exhausted, you have to take care of your physical, nutritional, mindset,
Absolutely.
and physical body. And it is never too late to start. And it's not all. There's so many ways and different levels of intensity that you can engage in, right? And it needs to be very customized program for that person their expectations, your point, their goals. What is it that they want? Is their summer vacation?
Yeah.
So we usually do this every year, and we're leading themes organically in the same direction. You got Thanksgiving coming up.
Yes.
We've got Halloween and all the candy. We've got Christmas. We've got these are opportunities where we sometimes, in the course of our busy lives, take time to connect with extended family members, either in their houses or in ours, over a meal. Before we get on each other's nerves, there's a moment of peace and tranquility where everybody's actually getting along, and that may be an opportunity for people to actually discuss some of this stuff.
Yes.
To talk about Aunt Carol, and
You really
Uncle
need that
Joe,
third piece of pie there, Uncle Joe? Yeah.
No, that is what. No, that is not the way you go about doing that. Okay.
Hey, Joe.
Do you want some ice cream, Joe, while you're at it? Come on.
Yeah. Or hey, listen. Let's have another serving of dessert,
Why don't I
and then take a walk around the block.
Exactly.
Why don't I just get you a gun and shoot you right now, Uncle Joe?
So other than the fact that I recommend that nobody goes to Paul's house for any of the holiday festivities, right? But no, there's a way, right? And I think if you take the time to do that, keep in mind that not only is their life enhanced, but also your relationship with them is.
Yes.
Your own life is enhanced. Let's be a little bit selfish here. If my parents are healthier and they're more physically fit, I basically don't have to be concerned and worried of getting that call at any moment's notice that somebody has fallen, because I know in my core that their core is strong enough to handle their life.
Absolutely.
So think about it that way too, people, that when you don't engage your family, you don't engage your loved ones that are older and trying to basically have these difficult conversations, okay, you're not doing your own self a favor, let alone them. And if you don't want to have these conversations, tell you what, find an old episode of The Raad Life and put them in front of it, because you know what? At some point, they don't want to hear you any more than you want to hear them after the turkey has been served. So,
I'd love to hear more, but we're out of time. How do they reach you?
Well, tell them again.
You can find me on Instagram at Webb Travis PT. You can also get me at my Gmail, Webb, WEBB, Travis, TRAVIS.
So
at
3
gmail.com.
Bs?
3 Bs. I'm unique. I'm weird. Someone else took Webb Travis at Gmail. I didn't know there was another guy out there.
Right.
So you're Webb with 3 Bs.
Webb with 3 Bs, Travis at
Right.
gmail.com.
All right.
And again, if you can't get a hold of Webb, reach out to me or the show, and we'll definitely connect you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It was really
awesome.
fun. And take care of yourselves. Stay healthy. Make it a part of your daily regimen, because if you don't, nobody else will.
You have been listening to the Raad Life Radio Show with your host and age explorer, Rod Gantos, brought to you on the one and only octalkradio.net. Join us again next week as we continue our journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older.
Yeah. Father, he took us 2 hours. It was like, there was